Well, welcome back into the Norfolk garden, and the signs of spring are starting to show themselves all over this bank with the snowdrops coming through and the scattering of the wild cyclamen, the native cyclamen that we put into this bank. Quite a few of them have survived from last year and are now starting to flower. These little corms put their leaves up at the same time, and you can see we've got quite a few here interplanted with snowdrops. Primroses here in the foreground, which are really starting to leaf up nicely here, but this cyclamen at the back, not put much flower up yet, but it's a good crown of leaf in there. There's another one just back up here, which I hope will flower a little later. I must have put 20 or 30 in here, and actually when you start looking around, you can spot the young plants coming through nicely. And I think in another week or so we're going to have some really good flower on this bank, enough to make a splash of colour from a distance rather than having to search close up. We're probably viewing these just a little early in the season, so we'll revisit these and show you the full effect later on. Heads of these sedums Autumn Joy are still standing really well and catching the summer. Spring sunshine. It's warm enough here to almost kid yourself you're into summer. The actual crowns are just starting to grow away, and you don't want to leave these too long to cut these back, otherwise the growth from the base is tall enough and you can end up damaging some of those new emerging shoots, which are going to be the plants and all your flower this year. I think we've probably got another 3 or 4 weeks of enjoying these, but by the end of February, beginning of March, we'll have wanted to tidy all this winter growth away so that we can view that lovely new fresh growth coming up from the basis during the springtime. We're really behind here this year in tidying the leaf mould off these borders. I'll just pull some of this back, you'll see what I mean. We've got primrose, quite a bit of weeding to do, but there's also spring bulbs coming up in here, which will be far better. Just look at that. I think that's probably a hyacinth coming through there, but there's lots of muscari in this border as well, and we really need to tidy all this away now. It's done its job of protecting and keeping the soil warm over the winter months, but now we need to remove it and let the light get to all these spring bulbs coming through, because that's their chance this year really to get all the growth and energy from every bit of this spring sunshine back into the bulbs and to give us some good flower later in the spring. So that's one job I really need to get on top of this morning. And here's another under the same oak trees. We've got this well-established drift of the same cyclamen. We've tried to extend out onto the bank and just look at the flower buds coming up from these. They're going to burst forth, but again it's a matter of tidying up this border so you get to enjoy them. Otherwise the season's going to be lost to them, and there's plenty of primrose, and later in the season this border under this old oak is absolutely full of bluebells. They're yet to even start emerging through this cold spot because it gets no spring sunshine onto the floor under this oak tree until much later in the season. But another good job to do now so we can really enjoy this clump of flowers. And this has been extended from a single clump to now what's forming 3 to 4 good sized clumps, and from a distance these really should pop. I mean, the bulbs are starting to emerge through the grass under this old apple tree in the orchards. We've got primrose planted in here, daffodils, bluebells, all sorts of spring flowering bulbs that are just awakening up now and coming back to life. Here again on the canopy underneath the oak tree, all the spring bulbs emerging up. The distance, little clumps of snowdrops. These roses didn't get pruned at the end of last season. I'm going to have to get on here now before these bulbs really fill out, so I don't risk damaging them, and get these roses pruned back and top dressed for this season. So I've got a full morning's work on in this garden, I think. full morning's work for the next month or so, to be honest. But it's a lovely, gorgeous sunny day. It's ideal working weather, nice dry, no wind, absolutely beautiful blue skies. So let's get gardening.